Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Skull Session Recruiting Podcast brought to you by BuckeyeHuddle.com. I am Mark Givler. We have a special guest today. It's a five-star cornerback, Devin Sanchez, North Shore High School, Houston, Texas. If you're watching this, you know the Buckeyes have received some good news. Devin, newest member of the Ohio State recruiting class, 2025. Tell me about your decision and what about Ohio State made the difference for you?
Just, going down there, the amount of times I've been down there, just, building a relationship with Coach Walden and seeing what he's done these past 2 years, especially this past year with the cornerback room. And, I mean, they've done an amazing job, and, that's something that I want to be a part of. Yeah,
he's really brought, Coach Walton, has really brought that BIA back. They had a couple tough years in the secondary before he got there.
Yep.
The last couple years, we've seen drastic improvement. They've got a couple of guys here that, we're still, as of recording, waiting on NFL decisions, but they've got a couple of guys that are looking to be high NFL draft picks either this year or next year. As you look at that, how important is that as a young player? I think it's everyone's goal to get to the NFL. It's in your position. Just how important, just watching maybe whether it's Denzel Burke or Jordan Hancock or even a Jermaine Matthews who got out there early this year, how important was that? Just what does that mean to you, I guess, as a prospect watching that?
It's very important because, like you said, Jermaine Matthews showing that, he was a top corner in Ohio and then showing that he got out there his freshman year and played. So, what was he? A couple times he was Big Ten Player of the Week as a freshman. So, that's big, and that means that, a kid from Texas that's not from Ohio can go down there to Ohio and play his freshman year and do that too.
Yeah, what does it say about maybe the attitude of the coaches? So you've got Denzel Burke, who's probably a future first-round pick. You've got Jordan Hancock, who's a future draft choice as well. You've got Davison Igbinosun, who may be a future first-round pick as well. So you've got these veteran corners in the room, but they let Jermaine Matthews get out there too.
Yeah.
How does that speak? Is that something that kind of excites you about, hey, if I'm even if there may be some older guys that are there when I get there, they're going to still play me if I'm ready to play?
Yeah, that means a lot because you do have, like you said, that veteran in the room, like Denzel Burke and Davison Igbinosun. They're going to be in the corner because they've done it before, and then also that means they're letting the little dog play too. Like that freshman, they're letting him get in the fire and all that. So, it means a lot that, they're there and, supporting him throughout what he did this year. So, it's good now, and then he goes into his sophomore year, and Jermaine's probably going to be the guy there.
When did you feel this was going to maybe be Ohio State? Like, when did you kind of feel that in your heart that this was going to be the decision that you ultimately came to? Was it early at camp over the summer? Was it later when you returned, or was it even later than that? Kind of when did you, I guess, realize this was going to be the decision for you?
After the Penn State game. So sometime after that, I just thought about it, that this is probably the place for me.
Was there anything specific about that visit, or was it just?
It was just seeing them play and what they've done this year, especially at that game. That was a big game. It came all the way down to the end. So that was a big game, and they gave up 13 points to a team that's scoring 30 points a game. So as a DB group, and they played good that game too. And I like just seeing Coach Walden in action. That was my first time seeing him in action. So that kind of pushed it too a little bit. So just watching that was very fun to me.
You've been to Ohio State a few times, so this isn't just a one-time visit or anything like that. But what, I guess, made you comfortable about your surroundings there beyond just sure, the coaches and the program, but you're making a choice of where to live for the next at least 3 years. What was it about your comfort level, either with the campus, the city, whatever, that made you feel comfortable with this decision?
Just like you said, the city. Looking into it, doing more research about Ohio. That's actually a place that a kid in my generation would want to go because they send me things that saying that Columbus is probably the best place for a kid my age to go. So it's a lot of things to do on campus, off campus, and like that. And Columbus is the biggest city in Ohio.
Oh yeah.
So it's a lot of things to do out there. So that played a part too. That you're not just going somewhere where you just sit in your dorm all day and you don't have nothing to do. You're going somewhere where it's going to be things to do and you can go have fun.
Yeah. So kind of the big campus has maybe pushed some kids away over the years, but you're Houston's a big city, so that's right in your comfort zone, it sounds like. Early commitment, naturally, people are going to say, well, he's a 5-star kid from out of state. He can go wherever he wants. This doesn't really mean anything. There's still a year to go before he signs. Like, here we go again. Like, what do you say to that talk that will undoubtedly come out here?
I don't really say nothing to it. I mean, it happens with every other player that does this, especially those top kids, in their classes and their positions. So, I mean, there's nothing that I really can say about it because I know it's going to happen, and I know people are going to say what they want and things like that. So, I mean, you just got to play it out and just go with it.
So, with this early commitment, you're kind of, they got Tavian St. Clair on offense, got Javen Boggs, but you're kind of the crown jewel, so to speak, of the defensive class now for them. How active do you think you'll be as a recruiter? I mean, some guys, it's not really in their personality. They kind of want to let everyone alone and just kind of do their own thing. How active do you think you'll be in terms of maybe talking to guys, whether it's other defensive players, maybe some receivers, whatever it might be, on helping build the class with this early commitment?
I'm going to be very active because, that's what I got to do because, they told me they want the top class in 2025. So, I mean, me being the player I am and, having the pull that I may have, I got to do it. So that they're looking at me to get some guys that they want. So, I mean, either on both sides of the ball, offense and defense. So, I mean, I'm going to have a big role to play, in the recruitment. So, I mean, I just got to do it now and get it started.
I do have to ask you, so Dorian Brew was basically one of Ohio's very best prospects, moved down not too far from you now.
Yeah.
Have you had any communication with him yet? Is that any talks there? I know, again, he's probably, maybe 30 minutes down the road from you at this point. I'm just wondering if you had any contact there, because I know one thing with the Ohio State fans is they're like, well, he moved to Texas. What does that mean for him? They were hoping he'd stay up there, be kind of right around the corner. Yeah. Is that a guy you've had some contact with?
Yeah, I talk to Dorian all the time. I talked to him I talked to him yesterday. So we talk a lot, and then, I think a day I didn't have a game. Actually went out to his first Conroe game in Texas, his first Texas game. So I went out there and watched him play. So, me and Dorian got a good relationship. I talk to him a lot.
Going to be one of your top targets now?
Yeah, I'll probably get Dorian too because, he's another guy that they want. He can play corner and safety, but, he's built like a safety, so they may use him at that safety spot. So, that's going to be somebody that they could use, so I may get him.
For people who aren't familiar with you yet, what type of game do you have? What are some of the things you think have allowed you to have the success you've had so far, to have the recruiting interest you've had so far, just things coaches are seeing in you that have made you such a highly valuable player?
That my ability to be able to play anywhere on the field, I can press, I can play off, and I can run with anybody and, play the ball down the field, and I can make tackles too. That's the main thing that they want, especially at corner. Watching Ohio State, their corners got to make tackles. So, that's probably why I'm going there now because, I can do it all, and that's what they want.
Where are you working at your game? I know everything, you got like 5 years to go here before we start talking about the highest levels of the sport, so there's a lot of work that has to be done between now and then. What are some areas maybe of focus this off-season for you?
My off-man and just focusing really on that because, I'm a press corner, so I got press basically maxed out. I got that down, so it's getting to play often because they do a lot of that at Ohio. They press a lot too, but they play a lot of off too, so I got to get to playing off, getting comfortable with that and, getting in and out of breaks. So, that's my big focus this offseason and going into my senior season.
Won't bounce around too much here, but we talked about Dorian Brew a little bit. Are there some other guys nationally you've talked to or even locally that you have maybe built a connection with, or that you could maybe see yourself now that you're going to be committed going after or kind of starting to build that relationship with?
Yeah. Carter Lowe, he plays line, a guy that Ohio wants. So I'm trying to get the line right, I'm trying to get the defense right too. You know, Trey McNutt, trying to get him. You know, he could be somebody that could play safety and corner too. So people like him, and then especially on the offensive side, you know, getting a lineman like Carter Lowe, and then he's trying to get some guys too. So I mean, it's a lot of guys that I can get, but you know, I'm just building a relationship slowly with some of those guys, and you know, see where it takes us.
Will we see you back at Ohio State, like maybe in the spring, or do you have any plans to maybe return at some point?
Well, that's something I got to talk to my parents about, but, you know, hopefully I can get back down there.
Yep. You know, as far as your senior season, you still have that in front of you. What are some goals you've set for yourself and the team? You guys had a great run this year. I know the expectations are always very high at that school, so I'm sure, you know, state championship, things like that. But what are some things you'd like to do, kind of lay out your perfect senior year?
Just finish the season off strong, you know, finish with a high school career with no injuries, nothing like that, you know, become a 3-time All-American and 3-time first team All-District. So, I mean, it's just goals like that and just finishing the season and then, you know, getting ready for the next level.
All right. Newest Buckeye, Devin Sanchez, 5-star corner. I've started the Jeff Okudah comparisons already. Sorry, I can't help it. It's too reminds me too much of Jeff Okudah. So, huge get for Ohio State. Tune in to BuckeyeHuddle.com. We'll have more on Devin's commitment here throughout the day and into the weekend. And we appreciate everyone watching and listening.